We begin with breaking news. Outrage tonight in Biddeford as we learn more about an ICE-involved shooting that left a young father dead and a community shaken.
Now, a federal immigration officer fatally shot the man in Biddeford this morning, with ICE claiming in a statement that he was fleeing the scene during an enforcement action. But we've also learned that the man was not the intended target of today's ICE operations. As
far as we know, there's no video of the actual incident, but witnesses shot video of the aftermath and a warning some may find it difficult to watch. The video shows ICE agents pulling a man from a white vehicle and handcuffing him after he'd been shot. According to an immigration group, the 26-year-old Colombian national was legally authorized to work in the United States and had a Social Security card.
Now, the initial word from Homeland Security earlier today, as told to Senator Angus King, is that the driver was shot after weaponizing his vehicle. But in their first public statement tonight, issued almost 12 hours after the shooting, a spokesman made no mention of that, instead saying the man was shot attempting to flee the scene and that there was concern for public safety.
One neighbor said he heard a flurry of gunshots right outside his apartment and ran to the window.
People with like big ARs, geared up, ready to go, screaming not to get out the car. Not see directly get him getting shot, but we saw his car circling and circling in the aftermath of when he was shot. And they pulled him out, I guess, maybe like 30 minutes later.
Now, we're also getting strong reaction to this tonight. We'll take you to a vigil in just a moment. But Maine Governor Janet Mills is among those blasting the federal response and reacting to word that that person who was shot was not, in fact, the person that ICE was looking for in the first place. Writing, quote, "This development makes this tragedy even more disturbing and infuriating, and it underscores the reckless and haphazard manner in which immigration enforcement operations are being conducted in Maine and across the country. This has to end," end quote.
Dozens of angry protesters stormed Senator Susan Collins' Biddeford office today after the shooting.
Vote her out! Vote her out! Vote her out! Vote her out!
Demonstrators made it clear they want the federal government out of law enforcement in Maine. Protesters entered the building entrance, banged on the glass doors, and chanted messages to the senator before local police arrived and cleared the area. Protesters point out that Collins voted to adopt a budget plan allocating nearly $70 billion for ICE.
And new tonight at 10, the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, has released a statement on today's shooting in Biddeford. In a post on X, he goes on to say, quote, "Americans are once again watching in horror as Trump's lawless federal agents took another life, this time in Maine. We must seek accountability and justice and an end to this madness," end quote.
Maine's candidates for governor are also responding tonight, calling for an investigation into the shooting. Republican Bobby Charles says Mainers should not jump to conclusions, and the full details are not out yet. He says in part, quote, "Federal agents put their lives on the line every day, often in split-second dangerous situations. And if an agent's life was threatened, he had every right under the law to protect himself, just as any Maine citizen would. What happened in the moments before that decision was made is now for Maine's Attorney General and the FBI to determine thoroughly and transparently." Meanwhile, Democrat Hannah Pingree saying, quote, "A life was lost in Biddeford this morning in a shooting involving ICE. I'm monitoring closely and will share updates as they come. Every Mainer deserves safety and security in their own community, along with transparency and a thorough independent investigation into what happened."
Now, Congresswoman Pingree also denouncing this, saying that the agents potentially killed the man in front of his family, including, she says, his young daughter.
We have now been told that the person who was shot by the ICE officer was not the person they had an order to pick up. And in fact, it's possible that the victim's family was there, including a 3-year-old child in their bluey pajamas. It's hard to even say this. It's horrendous. They're operating the way they are in our state, and we absolutely have to get to the bottom of this.
Now, Pingree and both Senators Susan Collins and Angus King have called for an independent, full investigation into the shooting.
Whatever evidence there is should be made public and should be made public soon. And I think the role of the community is to express concern. We don't yet really know what happened, but to ensure that we find out what happened, and that if there were actions that were unjustified, that those who committed those actions will be held accountable.
Now, Collins' office saying tonight the Boston office of DHS, the Inspector General, has now taken over the investigation in cooperation with the FBI.
We're also learning new details about the situation this morning, including the vehicle involved.
Now, Fox 23's Sam DeCoste continues our coverage. He spoke with people who live nearby and who saw this unfold.
The white sedan at the center of this altercation was a Kia Rio. Records indicate that it was registered to a man named Jonathan Ramirez. They also show that he lived here on Pole Street in Biddeford. Now, we couldn't confirm today if he was in the car during the time of the shooting, but we have confirmed from the Maine Immigrant Rights Coalition that the man who died this morning was 26 years old and from Colombia.
He was my neighbor. And his wife came running out, screaming, "Mi amor, mi amor."
Valerie Brinkman was in her kitchen this morning when she says she heard several gunshots. Then she went to her window and saw 3 armed individuals surrounding a white car.
3 people surrounding the car, screaming at whoever was in the car, "Do not get out of the car."
Brinkman lived in the same building as the driver. She says she did not know him or the family well, but saw his wife watch it happen from their building.
She felt the need to run out into the street and into the arms of danger so that she could be close to the spirit of her husband.
According to Presente Maine, the man who died in the shooting was authorized to work in the United States. They say he came to live and work in Maine and was a positive member of the community whose life was tragically cut short. In a statement, Presente said in part, quote, "To say we are heartbroken does not convey the depth of exhaustion, terror, or grief we are feeling. We will not let this death be reduced to a footnote in this administration's enforcement statistics. There is no freedom until everyone is free." Presente Maine also says that this man was issued a social security number. Going forward, the Maine Immigrant Rights Coalition is asking for privacy for the family, but also demanding a prompt and independent investigation to figure out what happened and why. In Biddeford, Sam DeCoste, Fox 23 News at 10.
And state and federal officials say that investigation continues, with local leaders saying it must be full, fair, and transparent.
Now, we are learning that the person apparently that Sam mentioned there who owned the vehicle, apparently not the person who was shot. That shooting did bring out large protests today and some counter protests, as well as a vigil that happened tonight, with many there saying that they have little trust the investigation will in fact be transparent. Fox 23's Max Williams is joining us live in Biddeford.
And Max, you've been on the scene now for several hours. What are you seeing and hearing from the community tonight?
Katie and Greg, yeah, it's been a long day here in Biddeford, and I'm sure it's been a long day for a lot of people here that live around here and had to experience what they saw today. But I can definitely say it's a lot quieter down here in downtown Biddeford than just about an hour ago when we had hundreds of anti-protesters and pro-ICE protesters here that have been here since noon. Now what is left, I'm going to step out of the way, is a growing memorial for this man that lost his life today, and there are postcards on the fence that show basically are just grieving messages. There's also candles as well, and you can see some people there taking a look at the vigil there. But we spoke to a lot of people today, and I can definitely say that it's been an emotional day for many.
A somber night in Maine. Messages of grief strung on a fence, candles blowing in the wind, and a makeshift grave to remember a man, a young father we're told, shot by an ICE agent this morning in a quiet Biddeford neighborhood.
And I get emotional about this because I have 3 kids who could be in a similar situation.
Joshua Hester bringing his 3 children to tonight's vigil.
I just felt really sad about what happened because it's not right. It's not right. It's a crime. It's a crime against humanity. It's a crime against Maine.
Hold on.
We want peace. We want to take our country back, and I want every one of you to keep fighting until we do that.
No matter what they try to do, we will continue to be a community that was founded by, built by, for immigrants.
Yeah, the community here definitely with some strong messages today, whether it be political leaders or even just residents that live in this area. Now, we don't know if the protests are going to continue tomorrow, so we'll be sure to monitor that. As you mentioned, Katie, this shooting is still under investigation, so once we learn more details, we'll be sure to update you right away. But for now, we're live in Biddeford. Max Williams, Fox 23 News at 10.
All right, Max, thanks so much. We also do want to note that local officials and neighbors are identifying the man who was shot today as Juan Sebastian Guerrero, again, a young father, 26 years old. We will continue to follow this developing story throughout in the days, weeks, and months ahead. For the latest updates, you can always head to our website. That is fox23maine.com.
All right, let's switch